Welcome back, everybody. It's Joseph for Zenny62. So, over the weekend, we found out that the Marlins baseball team had to stay in Philadelphia over the weekend to do a semi quarantine when two of their players tested positive. So, it turns out a day later, today it was announced that an additional 11 players have tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. So, what's concerning about that is that in one day it went from 2 to essentially 11 more, which would be 13. Unfortunately, 13 is an unlucky number, and what may be an unlucky number for Major League Baseball. So, when you consider, okay, well, it's only 11, 13 players, but who do they come in contact with? There is such a thing as contact tracing. Now, we have to start testing the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, who else did the Philadelphia Phillies come in contact? You got to consider these people are getting in contact not only with players, you're talking about staff members and potentially family members as well. And that's what I always criticize these major league sports about, is that they're not taking consideration the domino effect they're having not only in their own league sports but in society as a whole. So from one day you had a jump of 11 positive cases. It will foretell in the next few days whether or not they even will play. I know they canceled the games for today and the next couple of days that involve the Marlins, the Yankees, and the Phillies. Because potentially you have a three-way swapping of viruses going back and forth. Now, I don't think Major League Baseball properly prepared for it. Of course, their PR spin doctors will say that they did and give you tons of reasons why everything is going fine. But again, we see the NBA did a much better job in creating a bubble. I guess you weren't able to do that with baseball, which leads to the question is, what are we going to do about football? Now, potentially, football will have the same scenario as baseball does because there is no bubble and you'll be traveling from stadium to stadium. And there's still debate whether or not there's going to be fans in the stadium. So, again, to me, I see the NFL, as much as we want the NFL season to go forward, when are we going to start looking and taking responsibility and start asking ourselves what's more important in our society, that we continue having sports and continue infecting people and potentially killing people? Now, Freddie Freeman from the Atlanta Braves admittedly said that he didn't take this virus seriously, and he even said that and we're talking about athletes with no underlying medical conditions, saying that he was afraid to fall asleep because he was afraid he wasn't going to wake up. You also had another individual, a little bit older, but he was relatively a healthy 42-year-old, I believe, and now he suffers permanent damage where he has asthma and he has a hard time breathing even after he recovered. So there are long-lasting effects. But when you have an athlete like Freddie Freeman from the Braves saying that he was afraid to fall asleep and he is upset that he didn't take this serious enough, how many more Freddie Freemans are we going to have before we start taking this seriously? What you're going to eventually have is that the more superstars decide not to play, more than likely Major League Baseball will have to cease. Fortunately, if you're an Oakland Athletics fan, an Oakland A's fan, there haven't been any cases reported as of today. And let's hope that continues to happen, because it's something that's so widespread and we want to curtail this as much as possible. But it leads to another question, is what responsibility is Robin Manfred having towards the league, and what's his priority? Is it to continue the baseball season for its financial reasons or the cost of the health and welfare of the players? And So today, former Boston Red Sox pitcher David Price, who was picked up by the Los Angeles Dodgers in the offseason, criticized and called out Rob Manfred and said, now we're going to see what's more important to the league, players' health or the financial aspects of it. And he went on in detail to talk about that. And so that caused a lot of waves. And of course, every interview that Rob Manfred is doing up to now has been covered mainly by paid reporters from Major League Baseball. So they're not even delving into the comments that David Price made. There's no follow-up questions. And they're basically just snowball questions so that the real issues are not being answered. It's unfortunate, but let's hope that this anomaly of COVID-19 cases in the Marlins dugout kind of sustains itself just there. We will see in the next few days what steps Major League Baseball will move forward having. But again, I reiterate, being a huge Raider fan, I know Mark Davis had mentioned that he prefers not to attend the games if no fans are allowed to come. But then it brings up the other question, why are some teams moving forward with the idea that they'll have limited capacity of fans? It doesn't seem like there's a universal statute with the NFL or any set protocols that are in stone. It seems like they're doing everything half-assed. And so it's really important that everybody get on the same page, because what you're going to end up having is similar situation in the NFL as you do currently in Major League Baseball, is that you started off with 2 and the next day jump to 13. And what's the next day going to bring? It's going to jump from 13 to 30 and then explode after that. And then you got to realize the contact tracing, who else was infected just by in proximity, closeness to these players that you either were asymptomatic or didn't know they had it. So keep it here. We'll continue talking about this. And don't forget to like, subscribe on Zenny62.